Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jermaine with Black Wall Street ATX, and we'd like to talk today shortly about forms of currency. Currency is any value that causes the creation of economy. America has an economy, Japan has an economy. And so, one of the first forms of currency is money or cash. Money or cash is an item or medium of exchange that symbolizes perceived value. Collateral, property, such as securities pledged by a borrower to protect the interests of the lender. Gold, silver, a precious metal used especially in jewelry and the guarantee value of currencies. Credit, the ability of the consumer to acquire goods or services prior to payment with the faith the payment will be made in the future. Each of these various forms of currency allows business owners to establish, develop, and grow their businesses. Oftentimes, we kind of put ourselves in a corner because of capital. We look to cash, a sheet of paper with a face on it and a number in the corners to use as a means of exchange. Anytime you swipe your credit card, it's a form really of credit that you're going to agree to pay that back in the perceived future. Even your debit card is a form of credit. If you don't have any money in there, it's going to reject it. And if you have overdraft, then you're going to have to pay back what you borrowed with a very high interest rate, depending on the purchase. If you're purchasing a car with your credit card and you get a $35 overdraft fee, then it may be worth it for you. But if you go buy a thing of milk that may be $4, maybe $5, then that extra $35 of overdraft will be way more than what the value of that gallon of milk may be. But these various forms of currency is what we use to establish and run our businesses. Whenever you do a purchase order with a vendor, that's kind of like credit. You're getting it on credit with the agreement to pay them back as soon as you receive their invoice. Gold and silver is used to back up currency in a country. America's dollar used to be backed up uh, with silver certificates. You take your money to the bank and they give you a piece of silver in exchange for that sheet of paper. If we decide to establish our own form of currency, we would need something to help back it up, gold or silver. Collateral, if you decide to go into business for yourself, some people have taken loans out against their homes. This is a pledge to borrow money with this collateral as protection to the lender. So the lender will say, well, I'll take your home if you renege on what you've agreed to pay me. Cash. Anything can be cash. Sheets of paper with people on it, or a bottle of water can be used for cash if it's bartered in exchange with another item, such as you trade your water for some food. Let's say a piece of steak or chicken or fish. And if you agree that this bottle of water is more valuable than that fish or chicken, then you can exchange it as if it is money. According to the scriptures, Esau exchanged his birthright for porridge. So his birthright had really to him no value except the porridge that he exchanged it for. He devalued it when his birthright had an enormous amount more value than what he exchanged it for. So we have to begin to learn what the exchange rates are for things that we have that we consider valuable. Food, eggs, can be bartered for other things. If we have chickens, we can barter those eggs for other things that we may need, which could turn into hard currency, such as cash. Or you can give credit to someone and say, well, if you give me X, Y, and Z whenever my chickens lay eggs, then I will give you X amount of eggs in exchange for whatever good or services or money that you may request. Certain businesses have gone to banks and acquired loans based off perceived income. Well, I have potential business with these potential clients, but I don't have enough vehicles to service those potential clients. So if you give me X amount of money on this perceived ability to service these customers, I'll be able to repay you in X amount of time. These are various forms of currency. Currency, according to electricians, is the ability for electricity to flow through wires uninterrupted. You put a light switch in that current, then you can turn the electricity off, the currency off. And if you flip the switch, the currency flows. Well, we've put blocks between us. Bad credit. Many of our credit is in the toilet. We have a 500 credit score, or we don't have credit at all. If we have poor credit, we need to work to fix that, because that could be a source of currency. You can go into the bank without a dollar to your name and walk out of that bank with cash, or with numbers on a screen saying you have now amount of money to spend, just based off good credit. If you have precious metals such as gold or silver, you can turn in that gold or silver in exchange for currency, for cash. And so all these barriers that we put in front of ourselves are like light switches. Many of us have sold our properties for pennies on the dollar. Here in the Austin area, they sold their homes in East Austin for $300,000, and that sounds like a lot of money. But when you do the math, if a person lives off $50,000 a year, then you may be able to live, 6 years without working? It's not very long. And if you live off $70,000 or $80,000 like we tend to do, we live way above our means, then that money can be reduced very quickly. I've seen people who burn through $250,000 in a matter of months with poor spending habits. So these switches that we place in our currency are potential light switches that turn our currency off. Therefore, when we have a good business idea, then if we don't have the cash to start that business outright, then we're unable to start our business. And then our business is cash heavy. So we need cash for everything. If we want to expand, we need cash. If we want to get additional business, we have to get cash. If we want to buy certain goods or services in order to do business, we have to have cash, because we've burned our currency, we've turned the switches off, we burned our currency in the collateral, in the gold and silver, and in the credit, and all we do is have a perceived value of cash. I remember when we could take $1 and go get a gallon of gas, 75 cents to $1. Now you can't find a gallon of gas for under $3.50. So the value of cash has lowered, because the perception is that gallon of gas is worth $3.50. And so we take $3.50 of cash in exchange for the fuel. This is why I think we need to create our own economy, because if we're providing goods such as eggs to each other, grown in land that we own, then we can determine the value of those eggs, and therefore reduce the value, the perceived value of the dollar. If we say that those 12 eggs are worth $1.50, then that $1.50 of cash, and those eggs can be exchanged. Our problem is we jump in the same bucket of this country and we say, oh, well, our eggs too is worth $3.50 or $4.50. And therefore, the inflation of the dollar continues because of a perceived value of a cash that is backed by nothing except perception. This is why we must create our own economy. And at some point, begin to acquire gold and silver to back up our own currency. And if we back up our own currency, then we can determine the value of things, and we can have a value of things that respects all people such that everyone can thrive in that economy or in that environment. So we need to change our perception of currency. So, brothers and sisters, I hope that this short video helps with your perception of currency and the importance of credit and gold and silver and collateral. After this slide, there's a short, another 10-minute video to kind of talk about these things once again. We encourage you all to subscribe to our channel. We will continue to put out content, useful content, that will help us with understanding things such as currency, how to open up a business. If you want to drop us a line and ask about a certain subject, if we have knowledge of it, we will share that knowledge free, free of anything. If we have the knowledge, then we'll share it freely. Again, this is Jermaine with Black Wall Street ATX. Continue to circulate your dollars. Continue to be safe, and we'll talk soon. Hey everyone, again, it's Jermaine with Black Wall Street ATX, and I wanted to follow up on the first couple of slides that we provided this information on about money and cash. Is an item or medium of exchange that symbolizes perceived value, collateral, such as property, your homes, a car, anything that may be used as collateral is a security pledged by a borrower to protect the interests of the lender. The lender can then seize that item, such as your home or car, if you use it as collateral in relationship to raising capital. Resources such as gold, silver, or even land. But gold and silver is a precious metal used especially in jewelry and to guarantee value of currencies. The American dollar used to be backed up by a silver certificate. You could take it to the bank and then exchange it would give you silver. They no longer do that. The dollar is no longer backed up by any type of metal. It is now having perceived value, meaning it has the value that we place upon it. If you say that a grapefruit is worth $5, then the perception of that dollar or that $5 bill is that it's worth the same as a grapefruit. It's perceived value. It perceives to have a $5 value based off the people or the individuals who are willing to exchange it as a means of currency. Credit, the ability of the consumer to acquire goods or services prior to payment with the faith that the payment will be made in the future. I recently watched a show while I was out on the road called Deadwood, and many of you may have watched this same show. So I'd like to direct you to an episode and I don't remember what season or what episode it was, but it was when the shop owner was in a relationship with a lady who acquired some land who had an enormous amount of gold. And the shop owner, and the shop owner's business partner in the shop decided to open up a bank. And they used the value of the gold in order to guarantee loans that they were making to the people of that town called Deadwood. And anyone who may have forfeited on their loan, then whatever collateral that they put up, such as property or shops or whatever goods that they had, they put that up as collateral. And if they were unable to make their loans, then those collaterals would be seized. But she used a precious metal, gold, in order to back her ability to give money. Cash no longer has the value that it once had. Again, it's a perceived value. And so I made this video to discuss with business owners, especially Black business owners. We have a real misunderstanding of currency. We see currency as cash or numbers on our bank account. And so when we want to expand our business or grow our business or purchase things, the first thing that we do is say, well, we don't have the capital. If you own the building in which you do business out of, that resource can be used as collateral to raise capital. If you have a car or land or a home, those things can also be used as collateral to raise capital. The key is to have a relationship with a banking institution that you can work with in order to raise the necessary capital and not pay such an enormous interest rate that you pay more towards the interest than you do the value of the loan. Caucasian people typically work with financial institutions for a number of years. They maintain a decent credit score with their business because business credit and personal credit are different things. Even though they measure your personal credit, your business can also have credit. You can get a credit card in your business name. You can take out loans in your business name. And if you repay those loans, then your business has a good credit score. Just like you, if you go take out loans and pay them back, you'll have a good credit score. I encourage any of you that have poor credit scores to go fix that. You took out a loan saying that you would pay it back, or credit cards that you said you would pay back, and you failed to do that. That is not only a breaking of your word, which should be more important than any amount of money, because if you got a good name, then your name is worth more than gold. You can go get a pound of gold just on your name. But many of us, we break our word when we go to these institutions or we open up these credit cards. Therefore, when we go to do business, they look and they say, well, hey, your word really ain't no good. We can't really do business with you. So go clean up your credit. Begin to contact the people whom you owe money and work out some form of payment plan or some type of guarantee, and then repay those loans. That way you can increase your credit score, increase your potential to raise capital, but you won't be stuck in this one form of currency, which is cash. Because credit is cash. You can't buy a home without decent credit. You can't buy a car. You can, but you'll have such a high, enormous interest rate that they're going to get theirs off the top first. And if you defunct on a loan, they don't care. They take the car and they resell it. They keep the interest. And then they resell that car and make their money back, plus that enormous amount of interest that you pay. So we need to become financially literate, because our actions show that we're illiterate financially. So this short YouTube video is really to get you to thinking about other forms of currency, collateral, cash, resources, credit. If you maintain those in a responsible way, then you'll be able to raise capital to start a business, because Black Wall Street was started based off using my home as capital. As collateral to raise capital. And so some of the remodels to my home I used, and then the remaining I used to start a business. And I went into business for myself. Why? Because I made sure that my name was better than gold Anytime that I go to my financial institution, they run my credit. They see I have an excellent credit history of repaying them when I've made an agreement to pay them, or a vehicle that I purchase, I make the payments. I have credit cards. I make sure I make the payments if I use them. And I use credit responsibly. I don't just use my credit card because I don't have any cash or any money. If I don't have any money, then I don't need it. My credit cards are for emergencies and emergencies only. So let's begin to rethink how we handle money, and let's become money literate such that we can grow businesses. Because even tomorrow, if we break away from Caucasian people and we have our own nation among one another, we're going to have credit in our own nation. And if your word is no good now, what makes you think it'll become good because you're among your own people? Especially with the level of self-hatred that we have for ourselves and for one another. So let's become financially literate. Let's use this as an opportunity to begin to do research and studying on how capital and cash moves, what the gross domestic products are. What does that even mean? We have to begin to become literate of what those things are. And we got to begin to use those terms and trade among one another and create our own economic system. Share our money with one another, grow an economy together that's built on goods and services. When I was a young boy in New Mexico, my grandmother would send us around to the store called Thomas People. And she would say, go tell them I need this, that, and the other, and I'll pay them Friday. We go around there with no money. We just have that note and what my grandmother said. And the lady who was the daughter of the man who owned the store would read it, look at us, notice who we were. She'll tell us, you don't defreeze boys. Yes, ma'am. She'd go around there, pack a bag with the things my grandmother requested. You can bear witness with my family and anyone. She'd give us that bag and say, okay, tell Miss Defreeze that we'll see her Friday. Friday would come. We'd take that money around there and hand it to the attendant. And my grandmother had excellent credit history with that place. So in order to grow a business, we have to begin to circulate our money among one another and keep our word good. Again, this is Jermaine with Black Wall Street ATX. Let's do some studying on economics and how economic systems work, banking, credit, collateral, cash, and then let's use these to grow our own economy. Y'all have a good day. Continue to be safe. Circulate those dollars, and we'll talk again soon. Again, this is Jermaine with Black Wall Street ATX. And just a few of Black Wall Street brands. Black Wall Street Transport is our trucking company. If you need something transported or moved, you can go to our website, www.blackwallstreetatx1word.com. Fill out the form. We'll send you an estimate for whatever you want transported or hauled. BP T-shirt press, all your custom T-shirts for your business, for your personal self. We can press those T-shirts for you, no problem. Eden Fresh Products. These are a great all-natural product. We sell them door to door, customer to customer. Our great body oil. We have bar soap, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste. Currently, coming in April, we'll continue our March Madness into April sale of 50% off for our toothpaste. We have, again, that great liquid gold body oil, deodorant, and other great products. You can visit our website once again at www.blackwallstreetatx1word.com. Subscribe to our page. You can find the link right there below. Again, this is Jermaine with Black Wall Street ATX. Subscribe to our page. Follow us on Facebook and other social media sites. We'll continue to put out content. If you like to ask for certain content to be researched and published, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to do so. Once again, it's Jermaine with Black Wall Street ATX. Circulate those dollars and continue to be safe.